All right, we will be starting our second video on the chapter 414755 retake review. The first one, understanding relationships between excuse me, sides and angles. This second video is going to be on classifying angles according to their sides and angles. A reminder that you need to be watching this video, taking notes on each topic. Then you will complete the review listed at the end of the third video. You are going to turn in your notes, review problems to your teacher, make sure that everything is done correctly, you understand the material, and then you will set up a time with your teacher to retake the video. All right, let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to classify triangles according to their sides and angles. By definition, if we go back and look at our old notes, there are 3 different ways that we can classify according to sides and 4 different ways according to angles. Those classifications include triangles that have 0 equal sides. Those are called scalene triangles. They have 0 sides that are congruent. And normally when we mark those, we would mark with 3 different tally marks on each side in not any particular order. Then we have isosceles triangles. Isosceles triangles by definition are triangles that have 2 congruent sides. Those congruent sides are marked with tally marks that are the same. The third side could be different. It does not have to be different, but could be different. And keeping note that when you're looking at that triangle, this top angle at the top, this is called your vertex angle. And then these 2 angles that are on the bottom, these are called your base angles. We'll review in a second that those angles will be congruent to each other. The third kind of triangle that we talked about is a triangle that is equilateral. An equilateral triangle is a triangle that has 3 congruent sides and marked with 3 congruent tally marks. It does turn out that when you have a triangle that has 3 congruent sides, all 3 angles, this angle, and this angle, all will be exactly the same, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. Those angles will measure 60 degrees. Now, when we're talking about angles, we can classify those in actually 4 different ways. We have triangles that are acute. That is a triangle that has 3 angles less than 90 degrees. Then we can talk about a triangle that is obtuse. Obtuse triangles are triangles that have 1 angle that's more than 90 degrees. And then we talk about triangles that are right. And a right triangle is a triangle that has exactly 1 right angle, denoted by that little box that goes in the corner, so that when you look at that angle, that's how you're going to tell that you have a 90-degree angle right there, if there is no number. Then the last triangle that we talked about is an equiangular triangle. And an equiangular triangle is a triangle that has 3 angles that are exactly congruent. And then we need to remember that there are 180 degrees in every triangle. If you divide that by 3, you get 60 degrees per angle. So if we look at the triangles that we have down below here, first, looking at the sides, this triangle has a side that's marked 2 and 1 and 3. That automatically classifies it as a scalene triangle. And when I look at that triangle, I see that it has this little box in the corner. That little box means that it's right. So then we pull a word from our angle list, and it turns out that that angle is a right angle. And so we call that a scalene right triangle. The second triangle that we look at right here has 3 sides that are all marked exactly the same. 1, 2, 3. So we're looking up here in our list of terms, equilateral, because it has three sides that are the same. And because it has three angles that are the same, and we know that 3 equal angles is equiangular. 180 degrees divided by 3 is 60. We know that we can call it equiangular. We also can call that acute, right up here. So generally speaking, most people call that triangle an acute equilateral triangle, but you could also call it equiangular. This third triangle right here, we notice that when we look at it that it has two sides the same. This side is marked double and this side is marked double. That means that we have two sides the same. So when we look at our list of terms, we come up here and we see that not scalene, but isosceles. So that is an isosceles triangle. The problem that is going to give us some trouble in this triangle is this bottom angle right here. We don't know what that is. And if we don't know what it is, it's difficult to make a final decision. It would be necessary, to find the measure of that third angle. Thinking that we have 180 degrees total in a triangle, we have used up 35 degrees in each of the corners. We would subtract 35 and 35 from 180, and that will help us calculate the measure of this third angle right here. It turns out that we have 180 minus 70 would give us 110 degrees. Putting 110 degrees right here and looking at our list of triangle angle names, that would make that triangle obtuse. So we have an isosceles obtuse triangle. All right. What I would like you to do is take just a second, summarize everything that we talked about here. You can stop this video. When you're ready, start the third video, and then we will finish up this review so that you are ready to retake this test.